the Cuban Revolution succeeded in 1959. And it succeeded in a sea of reaction. And it was how many people at the time understood socialism, how you can somehow have socialism on a tiny island, or you can have socialism in a specific country someplace. While the world economy was a capitalist economy, somehow you can have your own little socialist economy. It doesn't work that way. And this is one of the big errors that of what has come to be known as Marxism, this whole notion that somehow removed, did not include the essential factor given rise and strength and power to capitalism, which was colonialism, the colonial domination of the peoples of the world. This is why you saw colonialism happening all around the world. It was global. It was the empire. It was Europe stretching out and taking lands, even where I'm sitting now in what is now called America, a part of what they call North America, named for a white man, is a situation where Europe left Europe and took all these resources. This is the part of the process building the capitalist social system itself. Yet, that being the case, the indigenous people whose land were taken from them, not only in the so-called United States, but throughout what is characterized as the Americas. The African people in Africa and in the United States who built this. And when I say who built it, I say Africans in Africa and the United States, because Africa in Africa helped to build what we have in the United States. That's why this notion of some kind of American descendants of slavery is so insane and reactionary and done by the government, because the labor that we put on in Mississippi planting cotton and doing all the other stuff we've done, that we did in Cuba, that we did throughout the Americas, is labor and resources and genius that did not go to Africa. So when we look at what white power owes Africa, whether it's in South Africa, any place else, they owe us all the value that was created outside of Africa for white power. Through the whole imperialist system. So when you look at what's happening in Cuba today, how since 1959, the US government has done everything from assassination attempts, from invasions, from quarantine, starving the people, from threatening nuclear war with Russia, when with the Soviet Union at a time when it offered some kind of support for Cuba. When you look at all of this and how the people in Cuba have withstood for this length of time, despite the fact that the socialism that they wanted could not happen. The only thing that could happen was socialists could take power and they could make some fundamental changes, which shows you how much room there is within the capitalist system to make changes if people wanted to make it. But the socialists took power and engaged in various kinds of relationships. How the Cuban people, they sacrificed, they sent troops to fight with us in Angola. They sent resources and medical doctors and things like that to oppress peoples all around the world. They were on the front line of the struggle against imperialism. And the work and part that made it possible for them to do this was the socialist philosophy, the socialist ideology, the socialist notions, the political education provided to the people by the Cuban Communist Party under the leadership of Comandante Fidel Castro. This is the heroism of the Cuban Revolution. This is mythological. And so this alone, for such a long period of time, has been responsible for the Cuban people being able to hold fast in the face of all this nastiness that's been done by this crazy white power social system. And so today you see demonstrations and things like that. Cuba opened up a moment to allow certain kinds of economic activity that never could have happened in the past. Because they're trying to bring some relief to the masses of the people from the quarantine that the U.S. imperialists have done. And having done that, they opened the door for a certain element of intervention in Cuba. And they promoted the people's hostility toward the social system that had done so much for the world revolution in Cuba itself. And so it's only because of the success of the Cuban Revolution, the fidelity of the Cuban Communist Party, the strength of the cadre that's functioning in Cuba to hold it all together up to now, that they've succeeded up to this point. And this is where you see this first explosion. And you see these demonstrations, that protests that's happening in Cuba now, where people want to eat, where people want resources. People know their resources are out there in the world someplace and they can't get them. They're locked into this situation. And the thing that's really important, that's different today than what was different than what it was in the 1960s and even parts of the 70s, is that there is no revolutionary movement on the horizon that people in Cuba can see. That is part of the struggle that they are trying to make right there in Cuba, have tried to make right there in Cuba. So it's almost like they're on their own, alone, only being able to rely on their own meager resources or some relief that comes from the United States government. The revolution is